Yep, and we are live
We're
right
live.
now. Hey,
Yay!
so exciting. Okay, hello everyone. This is Meshell Baker. I am the Director of Global Sales Development. I am an expert confidence coach, and I am a sales success strategist. And I'm working, and this is the Women of Sales and Influence, sponsored by the National Association of Sales Professionals. And another episode with an amazing woman from an incredible company doing amazing things. Like every time, every Monday, it just this time of day, you guys see me. I'm like the Energizer bunny that someone gave triple espresso to. Seriously. And so Viveka Von Rosen, who is one of the co-founders of Vengroso, she is a guru when it comes to LinkedIn, a master saleswoman. And I am just so excited to have her here because, again, we're just having conversations that convert to more clients and advocates. And Viveka is one of those women who is doing this exceptionally well. So Viveka, as all my guests do, I allow you all to introduce yourselves because many of my listeners, they are building a platform. And
Yeah,
when we don't have a platform yet, we get up and we grab the mic and we tell
that's
everybody.
right.
So I love them to have this reference of what does an amazing woman say about herself. So the floor is yours.
Awesome. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here. What a great audience of individuals. Yeah, my name is Viveka Von Rosen. I'm a LinkedIn speaker, author, trainer. My Twitter handle says LinkedIn expert, and I want to thank Twitter for that because it gets me a lot of Google visibility. And in fact, if you want to reach out today after you hear me talk, just Google LinkedIn expert and my LinkedIn profile will show up, and just let me know that you saw me on Meshell's show. And I'd love to connect. If you were to look at my LinkedIn profile, you'd think maybe that I was a little ADD. It kind of does this number. But the one thing that is coherent through the whole thing is, as I've always been fascinated in teaching and training people, whether that go the sales route or the marketing route. And so I'm really happy to be here today because I think as sales women, we kind of have to bridge both sides and align ourselves. As we say, we want to, position yourself or think like a marketer, sell like a salesperson. That was not easy for me to say. Think like a marketer, sell like a salesperson, and aligning and bridging those gaps is where LinkedIn is actually one of the best platforms or forums that you can be to do that.
Yes, thank you for sharing that. And I would love for you to tell us a little bit about your journey, and
Sure.
then we're gonna jump into why LinkedIn is so robust for any person out there wanting to sell. So, yeah,
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about you and what makes you an expert.
Well, like I said, a bit of a little of a ADD journey, but to take 30 years and compile it into 12 years and maybe hopefully 1.2 minutes. I was teaching and training locally on LinkedIn about 12 years ago. And one of our associations that we were a member of heard that I was doing that and asked me to come speak for them at the Waldorf Astoria Ballroom. So that was actually my first main speaking gig in 30 years. Uh, and so I got on stage, and to Meshell's point, I was just like, oh yeah, you are not getting the mic back. And I was so passionate about my subject, which of course was LinkedIn, and how to use it really to find, connect, and engage with people, which we now say, we turning those connections into conversations. Because at the time, 12 years ago, the way to do that was through networking events and through chamber events and through, association events and trade shows. And we were just moving into the Web 2.0 way of doing things. Well, of course, now things have changed. And that's why I believe LinkedIn to be such a strong platform for us. Since then, I've been invited to write a few books by Wiley and Daily Success Publishers. I've been a LinkedIn Learning author. I founded not one, but two companies in LinkedIn training. And so the latest being Vengroso. And yeah, it's just been an amazing journey, which I couldn't have done without social media and without LinkedIn in particular.
Oh man, see, that's just amazing. So again, anyone listening, if you have any doubt about what she's about to say, go back and rewind. Okay. So having said that, our subject matter are women in sales and influence, right? And
Yeah.
so as women, we tend to like to gather. We tend to like to stand around
Yes.
a table, hover around, have a little glass of wine, a little snacks, and be in presence
Exactly.
with each other. So how do we take that, current trend or that older trend and move us into the current century where so much is happening online? Like, how much more can you get done in a 4-hour time span when you think about the time it takes you to get dressed, to get in your car, drive
Yeah.
to the networking event, be at the networking event,
Yeah.
network, come home, and then drive back? So we're talking 4 or 5 hours versus what can you get done on LinkedIn?
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. And the thing is, as women, and this is a generalization, I know,
Yes.
but we do tend to be more social and we do tend to listen more. And that's what actually makes us good salespeople. Way back 150 years ago, I still am a hang glider pilot, but back in my 20s, the one thing I noticed was there weren't many of us who flew, but the women who flew, who stuck with it and were actually serious about it, not just doing it because their boyfriends did it or whatever, were always the best pilots. And I would venture to say the same thing is true of the sales profession, that if women can kind of, in some cases, get over themselves because we've got this inherent ability to listen, to empathize, to understand, I think we can make the best salespeople. And that's what I love about LinkedIn is it gives us a platform truly to find any, POC, any influencer, anyone, any advocate within a company that we're looking for, and build genuine relationships. There are some times that when a guy reaches out to someone, especially a woman in a leadership position, he might come across as a little bit pushy or skeezy, I want to say, on LinkedIn. As women, we usually don't come across as being slime balls, hopefully, which gives us an edge in social media because, in order to close more sales, we have to get people to know, like, and trust us. And I think as women, that's a little easier to do. Now, on the other side of that, we have the problem of, and I don't think it's so prevalent in the sales profession, but there's some women who are just like, oh, I couldn't possibly brag about myself. Oh, heavens, no, I couldn't possibly tell people about how wonderful I am. I'm channeling my mom, who was not.
I'm literally in the South, and I know people who. So
Bless her precious heart.
I know, right?
But it's funny. I'm channeling my mother, who's from South Carolina, but she was far from being a wallflower. She would actually have never said that. But there are some women who, and I was literally on the phone with a woman the other day wanting to position herself as a thought leader who wasn't comfortable bragging about herself. And I was just like, like, I don't know what's going on with my eyes. I'm channeling Game of Thrones. Wait, where is it? Here we go. I'm going to be in the Great Hall here for a second. The nice thing about social media, right? Be Cersei. You need to be a Cersei sometimes. You need to stand up for your power. You need to grab the throne. Exactly. But seriously, and the other thing is, oh yeah, you're not getting a simple answer today, Meshell.
Okay.
The other thing that drives me insane is how easy it is for men to get on Zoom and throw their ball cap on or throw water through their hair, put on a shirt and be like, yeah, I can do Zoom. I can get on video. Whereas I don't even want to tell you how long it took to do my makeup today. Third wardrobe change, and never mind when I go on stage. And I mean, on the one side, social media is great because we only have to look good one time, and that's when we take our picture for our profile. Unfortunately, that's not really reality anymore because right? We're doing video, we're doing Zoom, we're meeting clients occasionally face to face.
Yes.
And we need that authenticity. We need that reality, which is not behind me right now. That's Game of Thrones. We need that reality to come across. But the problem is, so many of us It doesn't matter how successful. I work with some of the most successful women in business, and they still have that voice of doubt, right? Like,
Right.
I'm too old. I'm too heavy. My hair doesn't look very good today. It's a little bit greasy, but deal. Whatever. And it's just like, we have got to get over that, because if we're not getting it, first of all, the guys really don't care that much. And if we don't get over it, it holds us back. And so whether you're creating a personal brand on LinkedIn, on any of the social media sites, we can't hold back anymore. We really have to step into our power, like
Right.
Cersei.
Right. No. And again, I'm a GOT or a Game of
Yeah.
Thrones
Yeah.
fans, and like around 7:50, I start wagging my tail like
Yeah.
a mad woman, because it's almost 8 o'clock and it's almost dark, and
Exactly.
I almost can't even voice any expression of words because it's almost
It's almost on. It's almost on.
and then I do the worst thing is I watch the clock, right? So I'm
Yeah, exactly. So
I'm like,
click,
just
click,
enjoy it, right?
click.
I can't, like, it's almost over.
I know. I don't even want to think about end of season. But I mean, don't go and kill people. Like, for those of you who don't watch Game of Thrones, Cersei is a princess who basically,
well, she's a queen now.
now she's a queen now. Yeah, she steps on everybody. I mean, her
Killed
brother,
enough
her
people to
kids.
become a queen.
She like
Oh,
steps on everyone and then like cuts off heads and all kind. I mean, she's not a nice person. But what I will say about her is she took power. She didn't let being the daughter of a king who could never rule. Actually, most of the women. But I wasn't about to get naked and have dragons on my shoulders for today. So
yes. So yeah, and to what you're saying, I get that, because I've noticed even in the evolution of my career
yeah,
and becoming
yeah,
director of global sales
yes,
development at the NASP was because I literally went and asked for it.
yes,
There was nobody promoted me. I actually
yep,
looked at what I was doing. I looked at the other director at the company and was just
yeah,
like, I think I should be a director. And they were like,
exactly,
okay, right. And it
right,
was
yeah,
right along the lines of my duties, right along the
yeah,
lines of my deliverables. There was nothing out of, but again, it was not anything. I just had that moment, and
yeah,
instead of having that conversation internal about why I shouldn't, because it made me so
yeah,
uncomfortable, because it pushed so far against
yeah,
outside of that comfort zone, I was like, this is what you must do. And that is where our genius is, ladies. For anyone who's
yeah,
watching, what Viveka is basically telling you is that everything we want is outside of that comfort zone, and that we have this knee-jerk reaction
yeah,
of a voice that's talking to us one way, and it's about conditioning the voice
yeah,
to go the other way, right? And it doesn't happen
exactly.
overnight, and
It
it will
doesn't.
happen. It
But it
will
will
happen.
happen. You
Yes.
just and the good news is you can get over it. I mean, especially if you are a professional saleswoman, you've already gotten over a lot of it, right? You're probably going, what are you talking about, afraid of
Yes.
anything, right? Because this role is probably one of the most rewarding, especially financially, right? And let's face it, wallflower girls are not generally attracted to the sales role. So a lot of you don't have this this inherent, like, little old me, I couldn't possibly. But even so, we still need to go out there and ask for things. We still, even though we deserve them and we think other people
Mm-hmm.
should just give them to us, which is probably true, we still have to go out and ask for them. We still have to ask for the raise. We still have to ask for the deal. We still have to ask to speak to the person in charge. We still have to ask for the lunch, ask for the dinner. We still have to put ourselves out there. But the good news is, I think that most women have an inherent gift within them that can't be learned. And so once we get over the fear of asking, it actually is easier for us to be successful. And one of the things that I noticed about myself, to throw myself under the bus here, is, I know there's inequality. Like, I'm a woman. I know there's inequality. But how much of that are we putting on ourselves? And the reason I'm thinking that is, if you are if you're not asking for it, then why would you expect to get it? Whether that's a raise, a promotion, whatever that is. The second thing is when I ran my own business for 12 years and I never did a deal much over mid 5 figures, right? The second I founded Vengroso with 3 male partners, our average deal size is high 5 to 6 figure deals. And part of that is because I couldn't deliver on a 6 figure deal, necessarily before. I didn't have the resources in my own company, and I have them now with the new company. But also, I never asked for it. I just plain and simple didn't ask for it. So that's where we have to learn to speak up for ourselves.
Right. And see, I love that you actually say that, because again, similar things. When it was me selling for other people, it was so easy to ask for certain things. But then when it came to me being my own business, just myself, I immediately became insecure. And I would ask myself that constantly. I would literally go, what's wrong with me? Right. And that was the conversation that was in my head all the time, until I finally said, there's nothing wrong with you.
Right.
I decided to have a different conversation because I wanted a different result. So again, that result, or as we call it, the outcome, and that's begin with the end in mind. What is it you want to create? Like we go back to vision. So I'm a hybrid. I tell people all the time, your mind needs a target. It needs something for you to focus on, to believe in. Right.
And you got to keep thinking bigger, right? Because I mean, I know, like when I first started my own business 12 years ago, it was like, oh, I'm going to make 6 figures. And then you made 6 figures and you're like, but 7 figures seemed far away, So you have to keep building. And then, this year I realized, okay, I'm financially where I wanted to be. We just built a new house. I just got married. I've got a lot of what I had on my dream board before, and it's manifested. So now I got to dream bigger. I don't necessarily want a boat this big, but nonetheless, like keep building the dreams. And maybe that dream bigger is actually getting some of that free time I used to have when I wasn't as successful.
Right.
Getting some of that free time back, getting a little bit more balance in my life, getting some health by being more active, whatever it is, you got to keep adding to your dreams so that you've always got a goal to strive for.
Right. And so on that vein of dreaming bigger, I'd love to talk about how to utilize LinkedIn.
Oh yeah, the whole reason we're here.
No, right. No, just to connect, because it was just like I was thinking, how do we get to the big dreams? Well, we connect with bigger influencers. We connect with people who have a bigger reach, right? So many times people look at someone's profile and go, oh, I can't, because people, I'll just, let's be honest. There's been a point where I've looked at someone's profile and gone, oh, no, I can't connect with them. Right. So I'd love for you to just talk about that. Like just, why it benefits you to actually follow that initial prompting and connect with that person.
Absolutely.
And on the other end, they're going to look back at your profile. So you know what?
You gotta look good.
You can't show up dirty at the ball and think that someone's going to dance with you, right? So
exactly. In fact, I'm going to put a link in chat if you can pop it into Facebook for us. It's Vengroso, Vengreso, ebook.com. It's actually our ebook on how to create, and it's free, it's ungated, on how to create your best profile possible. And then that way I don't have to spend the next 20 minutes talking about it. But to your point, Meshell, you've got to look good, because when you reach out to these individuals, they will look back at you. And if your profile is kind of sucky, you might not get their respect and you might not get their response. It's really interesting now that I'm in the position I'm in, and with some of my colleagues that I share groups with or forums or whatever, like there are people on that name that when I was just first starting out in business, I was reading all their books, and I was just like, I'd go to trade shows or conferences and watch them speak. And I was like a huge little fangirl. And now they're literally my friends. Like if I was going to go to San Francisco, I could call this person up. If I was going to go to New York, I could call that person up, and literally we could go and have lunch. Like we're literally friends. And it's because of LinkedIn. It's because LinkedIn is somewhat an equalizer. Now, I'm not saying that every potential mentor, every potential influencer that you want to reach out to will respond to you right away and that you'll become friends and like go have, lunch on the wharf. But if you don't reach out, it'll never happen for sure. And B, why not try? Because what I have found is most, especially if they're women, women like Jill Conrath or Lori Richardson, if they're there to support each other and us. And if you reach out to them and you are humble and open and willing to put the work in, they'll give you some of their time, right? And it's just amazing to me the quality of the female sales leaders on LinkedIn especially. And by the way, they're all engaging on LinkedIn and they're all sharing posts. So you have an opportunity of going to their profile, looking at their posts. And if you're hesitant to reach out and say, hey, do you want to connect right away? Then get into their atmosphere, right? Get on their radar by starting to engage on the content that they're sharing. I know they're sharing it because I teach and train them on it. So, get out there and start engaging on their own content, not just liking it, but commenting on a video that they share and being very, very thoughtful about your comments on those videos. And by the way, that works for mentors. It also works for POCs and influencers at companies that you want to access. Now, a lot of leaders, business leaders in companies that we in our named accounts are not active on LinkedIn. I'm single womanly trying to change that. But a few are, and it's an awesome opportunity for you to be able to find them, see if they're sharing content, begin engaging with that content, start to build up that top of mind awareness, and then go ahead and ask for that invitation to connect. And that's when you've got the connection, you continue those conversations, that builds the KLT, the know, like, and trust. And the next thing you know, guess what? You actually can pick up on the phone or get on Zoom and have that conversation.
Oh, I want to just say thank you for that, because that's, absolutely amazing information. And I know that, again, someone listening is going to connect with someone they've always wanted to connect with because they've heard this. And we're close to wrapping up. I have put your link on Facebook for the ebook.
Oh, perfect.
One quick question, because everything we're talking about is positioning ourselves as experts, right? And then as we become that expert, then those influencers who we want to connect with it'll be worth their time, because this is what I explain to people. No one is snubbing or snobbing.
No.
What they're actually doing is they are valuing the investment of time.
That's right.
So it needs to be a win-win for them as well as for you, right?
That's right. That's exactly right.
So and one of the things that I see commonly in pretty much every Facebook group I've been in where there's women, majority women or all women, is when someone asks a question, it becomes a data dump. No one ever asks a follow-up question. When someone, I need an accountant. I know an accountant. Here's an account link. No one says, what kind of accountant? Or what are you looking for in an accountant? What is it that was your desired outcome? Like in sales, you can't ever data dump on someone when you're having a sales conversation.
That's
but
right.
They'll turn around and these same sales professionals will data dump on people without asking one single question. I'd love for you to speak to that and how you've been able to help people, because I'm just lost. I'm like, but no one asked how do you
actually ask I realize as I just spent the past half hour data dumping on you all.
No, you didn't. We have a subject matter and a topic, right? So there was no question. So the topic was about being that expert, and I'd love for you to speak to that. So when someone, so if I'm posting and following someone, or there is, and I'm asking, there's a question, and I want to be seen as an expert because I'm in a group. Right. I'm using
exactly
my platform. So that was the question that popped in my head. How would someone who's so used to telling people what they know turn that around and start asking a follow-up question, right? Because you're going to feel weird because no one else is doing it.
Right. Exactly. Well, and that's what's Oh, sorry. That's what's so powerful about LinkedIn is you have a lot of different forums where you can ask those questions, right? So in groups, which uh, there are a couple good groups left out there where people are actually active, but there's really not many on LinkedIn. But nonetheless, you can pause it or make a statement and then in the comments begin to ask questions. Certainly in sharing an update, you can posit, you can posit a statement, an opinion about something that's going on in the world. And then you can use the comments to ask deeper questions, or actually you can ask deeper questions because you've got 1,400 characters in an average update. And so you can like make a statement and then ask some individual questions and then keep those cute questions going and keep those answers going in the comments themselves, which are public, and then other people get to see that. Or right in the way that LinkedIn has changed messaging now, it's more like LinkedIn, or it's more like Facebook Messenger, and they actually show active status. So if you see someone's active and maybe they reached out to you or you reached out to them and you see that they're actually active now on LinkedIn, you can start asking those questions, those thoughtful, informed questions, instead of just like you said, bleh. And to that point, one thing that drives me nuts, and more men do it than women, but I have had women do it too, is someone who will invite me to connect on LinkedIn. I'll research them, I'll accept them. And the next thing you know, you need this, 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 and that. We can help you with that, and that.
Yes.
Like, get to know me first. Buy me a drink first.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Like and delete, archive, block. Like I have no time for that. What I do have time for are thoughtful questions. And if we just met on LinkedIn, my time is, to your point, Meshell, super valuable, as is all of yours.
Mm-hmm.
And even if it's a nice hello and a thoughtful hello, still don't ask me to meet up on a phone call, because I don't have 15 minutes until I either need your product or service, which I can read about on my own, thank you very much, or I know more about you, or I know for a fact that in that 15-minute phone call, you're going to be able to help me in some way. So just start with a text-like conversation in your messaging, eventually move on to the phone call for sure. That's the whole point of all of this. But don't start there, because that's just skeezy.
So this is dating one-on-one for LinkedIn.
Exactly. It is, but that's right. This isn't Tinder.
I'm on Match.com, and I would never give my phone number to anyone I just met. So this is everything I hear in my head is like, oh, okay. So now you just transfer what you learned about dating to LinkedIn.
Exactly. This, like I said, this isn't Tinder. This is like Match.com or eHarmony.
God, this is great.
We're not looking to hook up right away. We're looking for a genuine relationship.
Game of Thrones to Match.com. What is happening? This is awesome. So I want to shout out Tracy and Barbara, who they said great tips, and they totally agree. They are like shouting and hearting and loving. And I know for anyone on the replay, go back through the comments. The ebook is here, VengrosoEbook.com. And it's, again, I just want to say thank you to Viveka. I'll ask her for any closing comments or any one tip. So anyone watching this, the first thing they can go do, or one thing they can go do that'll turn things around in their favor. I always ask guests for that before we wrap up. So Viveka, you want to leave us with your parting wisdom?
Yeah, well, you've been seeing me do it all day, right? Or this whole thing. I keep changing my background image because, visual is so important. And one of the first things people are going to see when they look at your profile is your banner, right? And literally your head's going to be in the middle of it, kind of like mine is. So find something that is reflective of your company, reflective of your brand, reflective of who you are, and change that banner image. Maybe put some contact info, not your personal cell phone address, but that one thing might make enough of a strong brand impression that when you do go to reach out to your prospect for the first time, they're just more willing to do it. So that would probably be my one super quick thing that you can do. The other thing that's going to take a little, because I never give just one tip. The other thing that's going to make your profile stand out more is come at it from the customer or the buyer. Make it a buyer-centric profile and make it a resource, not a resume. No one cares. Make it a resource. And that's, again, the ebook will teach you how to do that.
Oh, this is so great. Thank you. And again, remember, it is a resource, not a resume, right? That's
right.
the old LinkedIn. The new LinkedIn is your resource for you to have a conversation so that you convert to more clients and advocates. So I love this.
Absolutely.
Taking connections, the conversations, the clients. Beautiful. Oh, I just alliterated. Love it. Okay. So this has been Meshell Baker. I am the host of Women of Sales and Influence. And again, this is sponsored by the National Association of Sales Professionals. And we are the largest online community of sales professionals in the world. And we have currently a robust free membership that is offering to you a complimentary conversation and a sales strategy call. So sign up at www.nasp.com/join, and love to have a conversation with you and help you to create some sales success in 2019. Thank you, Viveka. Stay right where you are. I'm going to go off the live so I can have some private time, because that's the benefit of being me, right? I will see everyone next Monday.